Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time talking episode 7 of season 3 of Supergirl, Wake Up. And this is another really solid episode. Mon-El's return is handled really nicely, and I'm very much liking what they're doing with Sam in this episode as well. And we also get some nice moments with John and Wynn as well. So let's just kind of get right into things. Um, the nice stuff going on with John here. Of course, it revolved around his dad, and I like how his father really rightfully points out that, in a way, the DEO is John's prison. John is basically, at the end of the day, a workaholic. He's been spent so much time trying to find something that really gives his life meaning, and he's found that in the DEO. It's where his friends are. It's where Sam and Kara, who are in a way adoptive daughters of his, are. It's his one real place where he has a connection to others. But now that his dad's here, this is a really new dynamic for him, and John is as happy as he is to see his father. Old habits die hard, and him trying and failing pretty miserably to just hang out with his dad in the park. I mean, that was wonderfully done. And then that scene where they say, you know what, this apartment can be our home. Let's make this a home together. I mean, very simple, but very nicely done. We also get a little taste of the Martian Manhunter's phasing ability, which is one of those things that has been kind of pushed to the side for quite a while now, and it was nice to kind of sort of see that get a nod. And I loved Wynn's reaction. That was hilarious. Good stuff with Wynn this episode too. His friendship with Mon-El was nicely done, and I like how he went in there to talk to him, and Wynn was really the one that kind of succeeded in finally getting Mon-El to really open up. Now, granted, it was more like Mon-El's like, you have to help me, and I can't really tell you why. But at the end of the day, Kara was really just too close. There was just too much emotional baggage going on with Mon-El and her for him to really be able to tell the truth, and knowing that it would lead to something that would break Kara's heart. Wynn came at him as a friend, and it's that really let him do that. Let Mon-El finally at least ask for what he needed. And I like how Wynn was genuinely quite serious in that situation. I mean, he understood this was a really serious situation, and that hey, maybe he even says, like, I don't expect you're going to tell me anything that you wouldn't tell Kara, but I got to try. And he actually does end up succeeding. So, points to Wynn for that one. I think the show really doesn't give him the credit he deserves, but this time around he got a nice little chance to shine. Now, a lot more details about Sam's backstory is filled in here, and I'd be very curious to know exactly how old she was physically when she was found by Patricia in that rocket. I mean, the episode all but says she basically got pregnant when she would have been about high school age. So she would have had to have been younger than that. It's very curious as to, was she a baby? Was she a toddler? I mean, Sam seems to have no memory of any previous people in her life, so it's most likely she was very, very small, but still, I kind of like that spelled out. And the explanation of, well, why haven't I developed my powers before? Like, oh, well, it's because you had a kid. Well, I mean, yeah, having a child does a lot of things to a woman's body, but delaying it for, like, what, Ruby's probably junior high school age or so? But, comic books, aliens, sure, let's go with it. I love the whole thing out in the desert. I was like, no way. Is she getting her own Fortress of Solitude? And apparently, Supergirl having a thing called the Sanctuary of, the Fortress of Sanctuary is a thing from the comics. It's an idea that's been around for only a few years, so it's not something I'm familiar with. But the idea of, like, evil Kryptonian with their own Fortress of Solitude, I'm digging that. I'm really digging that. And here, with the whole thing with her being transformed into Rain, is also nicely done. You can really see that Sam is a good person. She doesn't want to hurt anybody. She cares deeply about her daughter. She doesn't want to go out there and do these bad things, but she doesn't have a choice. She was designed for this, which is certainly something that's going to be quite interesting to see how all of this plays out. And then, of course, the big thing is we are introduced to the character of Imra, who is, of course, from the comics Saturn Girl, and it turns out that she's Mon-El's wife. Now, in the comics, I remember Saturn Girl as traditionally being involved with Cosmic Boy, and yeah, I gotta love those Legion names. And I really loved the Mark Waid Legion of Superheroes run, where they sort of came up with this brilliant explanation as to why the characters have these names, and it's that they deliberately chose these names because they were just so retro and unbelievably kitschy, and that was considered cool. And just sort of thinking about the way sometimes people react to, goofy things from the past, and the incredible nostalgia, and the way that folks will sometimes really jump into that sort of thing wholeheartedly. I mean, for God's sakes, you have people walking around with waxed handlebar mustaches these days. I mean, it just seems so fitting. Yeah, yes, this is exactly what teenagers 1,000 years from now, if they gain superpowers and had this strange obsession with early 21st century, late 20th century culture, yes, this is exactly the sort of absurd, ridiculous thing that they would do. No, I don't think they're going to quite go that way here on the show, but still, it's nonetheless, it's very interesting. And I do like how it does show that, hey, it's been 7 years. Mon-El has gone on with his life. He's found someone else. And, he never let go of that, memento from Kara. That had to have been the only thing he really had sustaining him through some very dark times in his life. And that no matter how he feels about his wife, Kara is always going to hold an incredibly special place in his heart. So you can really understand why, when he finds her, of course, he's happy to see her again. But, it's a reunion that comes under the worst possible circumstances. Not really for him, but for her. And all of this is done to try and protect Kara from heartbreak. And I do like that moment where she points out to them, Win and Mon-El, it's like, hey, since when have I ever needed you two to protect me from anything? Which is, a fair point, but given how it all plays out, it's pretty hard to blame Mon-El for trying not to let this happen to her, because, I mean, ouch. Talk about having your heart ripped out. Saturn Girl, man, it's been a long time since I've read Legion comics. So I don't really remember Saturn Girl that well. I was never a huge Legion reader. I did like the character. She's pretty cool. She's a really great telepath. She's definitely got I remember she has some reasonably good leadership chops. She's a very, very formidable member of the Legion. And I mean, we even hear Mon-El drop Greif, which is the comic book swear word that the Legionnaires are so very fond of. And the casting news has produced some interesting things. So yeah, just the idea that they are really, really embracing the Legion on Supergirl is great. I mean, we already got a nod to them on The Flash. The Legion ring was seen the other season in the Fortress of Solitude. So, Superman obviously knows something about these guys. And it's gonna be cool. I am so pumped for all of this. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Who's Your Jedi, and please also join me on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer. Till next time, take care and have a good one.